and you're mystified. Oh, and like a private eye, they gather all the information for the latest investigation. Work it out with who, what, when, where, why.
Hi seniors, it's Mr. Chocolates, and I'm here with today's frequently asked question. I'm getting a lot of questions about letters of recommendation. How do I know if I need one? How do I ask for one? Where do I have my teacher or counselor send it? So I'm going to go through this in a little bit more detail, so hopefully that helps you as you are requesting letters of recommendation. One of the first questions I get all the time is, how do I know if I actually need a letter of recommendation? And if I need one, who do I need it from? So there's a couple ways to go about this, but this is where it really takes you to do some research yourself. If you're using the Common App, for example, you should have all the colleges you plan to apply to loaded onto your dashboard. From there, you will see this oval that says application requirements, and this is a really big help as you are trying to figure out what you need to do. If you click on this, it will give you a list of the schools that you have on your dashboard, along with the different deadlines, ways to apply, and so on. Now, if I scroll all the way across to the end here, there's a whole section on recommendations, and I can even click the little question mark to find out what these abbreviations mean. TE is the number of teacher evaluations required. There's other evaluations. Mid-year report we'll talk more about as we get closer to January. And then CR is the counselor recommendation. And for counselor recommendations, you can see counselors will submit online. There's either a school report, final reports, there's letters, and so on and so forth. So it does tell you to consult each institution's website for more requirements. But the two things you're looking for is the TE for teacher evaluations and the CR for counselor. So if I look in these columns here, I can see that if there's a 0, it means that this school does not require a teacher letter of rec. If it's blank in the CR column, they do not require a counselor letter. So on my list here of schools that I have right now, I can see that Wisconsin-Madison does require 1 teacher, Vanderbilt requires 2, and Vanderbilt does require a counselor letter of rec. So I'm going to at least need to ask 2 teachers and my counselor for a letter just for Vanderbilt alone. Now, if Vanderbilt was not on this list, then I may only need 1 teacher and no counselor. So it's very important to look at this and make sure that you understand what is required or not. Now, what if I'm not using Common App? Then I would say go to Google. So let's say I want to apply to Elmhurst University, formerly Elmhurst College. I Googled Elmhurst University, how to apply. They happen to have a website all about it. I go to it, and then I see what they're looking for. Okay, I can apply online for free, which is nice. I can send my transcripts a certain way, though you'll do that through Parchment. And here, when I get to submit any other relevant materials, you may choose to submit additional materials, such as an essay, activity resume, and letters of recommendation, and they can be uploaded into your application portal or sent to transcripts for EU at elmhurst.edu. So what does that mean? That means if you do want a letter of rec to be sent, you will ask your teacher and or counselor to probably just email it to that email address that you see. So you'll want to provide them with that email address so they know where to send it to. You could have them mail it, snail mail, and the address is there as well, but the best bet would be to send it. Your teacher or counselor is probably not going to give you the letter of rec to upload into your portal, so you can provide them with this email address as well. Now, again, make sure you are looking at what is required, and if you're applying to U of I, a popular school, they even have applicant FAQs. One of the FAQ is, do you accept letters of recommendation? And you can see clearly, no, we don't accept it or any other unsolicited materials. So do not send one just because you think it might help. They do not want it. They did not ask for it. So don't send it. All right, great. Now you know exactly which schools need letters of rec and which ones don't. And you've updated your college application tracker and you're ready to start asking for those letters of rec. So where should you go next? Well, I would suggest you go to the college application guide. Scroll down to the recommendations menu, and there you will see after you've determined if you need letters or not, what the policy and procedures are for teacher letter of recs and counselor letter of recs. So for teachers and counselors, we're going to ask at least 15 school days before the deadline. For teachers, you can email them or Zoom with them and ask them if they are willing to write a letter on your behalf. And generally, it's good to ask a teacher who knows you well in the classroom. So it could be from junior year, either a course subject or a class that's related to your major and what you want to study. And then you're going to review the student responsibilities. And this is very important because teachers, of course, are very busy and we want to make sure that their time is used effectively. So once again, confirm you actually need one. Okay, you did that. You're going to waive your right to review in the application when asked. This is standard practice. Again, give them that 3 to 4 weeks, 15 or so school days at least to write it. And then if they do agree to write it, ask them if they want this form filled out, which usually they do, and then send it to them as quickly as possible so that they can get started. Okay, so here's the teacher letter of rec form. And you can download it into Word and type in it. You can print it and write it and scan it back. But basically, this is going to give your teacher just some more information about yourself, about what you thought of the class, any memorable assignments, things like that. Then at the bottom, you're going to let them know if this is for Common App. If so, when's the earliest deadline? If it's also for another school that needs it via email, you can put the email in. So again, you could put Common App yes in the deadline, and also you could put the email where it needs to go for Elmhurst, for example. The letter, the recommendation form only needs to be filled out once per teacher. So again, even though you may need 2, 3, 5 different colleges needing a letter, you only need to fill it out once. And then again, if it's Common App, it just gets uploaded once. If it's 5 different applications, then put 5 different email addresses or whatever else might be needed in order to send that letter to the right place. Now, if you need the counselor letter of rec, it's going to be a little bit different. You are going to go down here on the application guide to the counselor form part, and you're going to select your counselor's name, and then you will be taken to a Google Doc. The Google Doc will have, again, similar questions about yourself. What do you need this for? So if you need it for Common App, if you need it for another form, if you need it for a scholarship, whatever you need it for, just check all that you need and let the counselor know that way what they're writing this for. Okay, if you need to submit it more than once, you can, but again, you can check all that apply. Let your counselor know the earliest deadline, and then answer all the questions and then hit submit. This will notify your counselor that you have a request, and he or she will look at your requests in the order they get them and by deadline, of course. Okay, so you're going to want to make sure for both teacher and counselor that if you are adding them to an application such as Common App, you are inviting them the right way. And there are inviting recommender instructions in the guide as well. So please read these thoroughly to make sure that you know how to add them correctly. Okay, so quickly to recap. First, make sure that you actually need a teacher or counselor letter of rec. You can check in Common App if you're applying through Common App if it's required or not, or go to the school's admissions website and see if they will accept one, if it's required or not, or if it's optional. Then figure out who you're going to ask, reach out to them, either if it's a teacher by email or Zoom, if it's a counselor by filling out their counselor rec form, and those can be found in the JHHS college application guide. Make sure to give recommenders 15 school days at least to process your request, and update them on any other information you might want them to know in order to write the best letter possible. It can get confusing, so if you have questions, please feel free to let me know. Good luck.
It's time to figure it out, leave without any doubt.